Have you ever wondered how you would ever possibly compare the performance of 18 different factory offerings together to find out which one was actually better statistically? Well, today you don't have to worry any longer. If you're anything like me, whether you reload or not, some of the biggest questions that I don't always have good answers to, how do you know which one is better than another, besides group size? Is the offering that gives us the smallest group actually going to give us the best chance of hitting our target? That's what we want to talk about today. Putting hard numbers behind this is very difficult. The tool we're going to go over today is going to help us figure out what should we be concentrating on to make our hit percentages on target better than they currently are. Essentially, what is holding us back? If you've essentially ever wanted to compare an endless amount of variables, whether it's velocity, your precision, basically anything involved with ballistics, and see if it's worth trying out or if it's going to actually increase your hit percentage on target, then you're going to want to look at the tool from Applied Ballistics called the AB Analytics tool. If you're someone that's interested in engaging targets at further distances, this tool is going to help you figure out the variables that are actually holding you back, and there's a very good chance that it's not group size. A couple of caveats that I want to address right off the bat. This tool is far from free. I purchased my own copy. Some things are absolutely going to be obvious, like smaller groups, when everything else is equal, are better. Lowered stand deviations are also better. And one of the bigger things, I'm not going to walk you through step by step every single option in the software. That would take forever and no one's going to sit through it. This is a crazy powerful tool and we would likely be here forever. I'm going to give you the quick and dirty of what I intend to use it for, where I think the information it gives you is absolutely invaluable, and we're going to go over some of the things you're going to want to consider. Currently, I don't believe you can get this tool from our channel sponsor Midway USA, but you can certainly get some books written by Brian Litz where this tool is talked about and give you some examples. And that's what I hope to use it for on the channel going forward. First of all, what can this do? Well, first, it's a ballistic calculator that can compensate for more things than you can probably think of. Everything from scope turret error to muzzle velocity variation due to temperature change. I don't want to go over any of that today. Primarily, we're going to go over how to input some velocity and precision information into the calculator and show us how we can determine which one is going to give us the best chances of hitting our target, whatever that might be. Now, selfishly, I want to use this to do hit percentage calculation in future videos, and I want to make sure there's a reference to show you how I came up with these calculations and how you might use the tool yourself. So if you're here from the future, welcome. Personally, I like to learn with real examples. Most days I'm forced to live in reality, so let's start there. Let's just say I wanted to compare 18 different factory offerings in .308 Winchester. How do you truly plan on, with confidence, know that one option is going to give you a better chance than hitting the other on a 12-inch steel plate at 1,000 yards? Well, this software can do exactly that if you give it the correct information. Again, there are a lot of variables that you can input, but I'm going to assume that the difference in projectiles isn't going to affect your ability to know the distance to your target, your ability to read the wind, and any of the atmospheric conditions that are around you. If you want to add all those, you absolutely can, but I want to show you that one of these loads, when you run the numbers, one has almost a 50% better chance of hitting the target than another. To be clear, this is going to increase our hit percentage chance from 36% all the way to 52%. 16 divided by 36 is almost a 45% improvement. Those are the numbers that we're talking about. The first thing I'm happy to point out is the more samples you test, they're certainly going to give you better results. One 5-shot group is not going to tell you the whole story, but as you play with these numbers, you can get some real confidence you're chasing the correct variable instead of your tail. I've made these mistakes, and if at all possible, I hope you get to skip them. The first thing we need to know is whatever our projectile is. In this case, we're going to pick 3 of our best contenders out of our 18 that worked for me. The 168 and 175 grain gold medal match by Federal, as well as the 168 grain AMAX load from Hornady. I picked up all 3 of these from our channel sponsor, Midway USA. They have these as well as many more options to meet your needs. In our software, we're going to need to input some key variables. Many of these, I'm just going to leave the default values because, again, your ability to read the wind is not going to affect the performance here. But feel free to change them to make them as accurate as you can for your experience. I assure you, I haven't intentionally entered something wrong here to make one thing look different than another. The first thing we'll select is the correct projectile out of the database. You can either input G1, G7, or the custom curve from Applied Ballistics. In this case, all 3 have custom curves from Applied Ballistics, and that's what I'm going to choose for every single one because I believe that it'll give the most accurate representation. We're also need to make sure we select the correct twist rate, and then we're going to input the precision or group size, the velocity, and the velocity statistics into the software. If we insert that information from what we've gathered, we can run a simulation and find out of these three options, which one gives us the greatest opportunity to hit our target. Aside from hit percentage on a known distance, we can also get some additional information that's very interesting. For example, we can see at what ranges our loads are very solid. We can see until basically 500 meters, our hit percentage on target is almost 100%. Please keep in mind we're essentially excluding environmentals here, but assuming you know your environmentals, we should be very confident at 500 meters that we're going to be able to hit our target. It can do a shot simulation to see roughly how the rounds end up on the target, but my favorite tool is that it allows us to tell us what our load can be improved on the most, or essentially what's holding us back. It's broken down to both vertical and horizontal, and you can see these in the uncertainty column. So if we choose vertical uncertainty, we can see that the precision of our shooting platform isn't really holding us up near as much as we might think. The variability of our velocity is really the biggest variable here, which we need to improve on. Now with factory, that would be very difficult. But if you're a reloader, that's going to tell you what you need to concentrate on the most. Taking a 3/4 MOA load to half an MOA might not be near as important as taking your standard deviation from 10 down to 5, but you're going to need to run those numbers for yourself. If you want to add some confidence that you need to go practice your wind reading, add your wind uncertainty to get to a more reasonable number. What if you can only read the wind to within 3 miles per hour? Well, if not, your best factory option hit percentage is going to go from 52 all the way down to 10. Now, there is a good chance that assuming you can see where you missed, a follow-up shot could be effective. But understand what is causing the most uncertainty, we can figure out what we need to improve on. So if you're a reloader and you're using this tool, you can easily figure out if it's worth spending your time making your group smaller, working on your velocity consistency, or possibly your wind reading skills. If your load is 3/4 MOA, is that garbage? Or does it pale in comparison to another variable that we should be working on? I know for me, it's the wind. If you've been listening too much to the interwebs to help you figure out your load development, there's a good chance you could be stuck thinking you need to have a one-hole group before you can even earn the honor of attempting to hit anything out at distance. I know when I took my first trip out to 1,000 yards, I thought I really needed a way better load than I did to be successful. I was very wrong. The best time for me to realize this would have been 6 years ago at least. But now is a much better time than waiting 6 more. I know I'm going to be using this tool a lot more here on the channel, and I hope it's going to give us the confidence we need with actual numbers to know we're picking the best option to move forward with. If you'd like to learn more about the basics of how to be successful at long range as far as gear is concerned, check out this video right here. I hope to see you in that video, and thanks for watching.